All of us at one time or another have had people who have come into our lives and acted as mentors or father figures. For me, that person is Henry Dickey Jones. Early on in my career here in Atlanta, Georgia, he was an amazing support system. And now he has written a book with several other men, Savannahans, and the book is called From Then Until Now. I wanted to take the time to sit down and talk to him about the book and talk to him about his life and the ups and downs of it all. Here's our conversation. Take a look. What made you want to write this book, From Then Until Now?
Every Wednesday, a group of guys, and we talk about everything from current events, race, religion, whatever, And we also talked about growing up as young kids and how we see people now, the young people now, as they are now compared to, how we were. And we said, you know what? When you look at the way we grew up, we had nothing. And these kids have everything. Why would they want to go out and get in trouble, shoot somebody, kill somebody, end up in prison, or end up dead? So we decided, well, at least, let's write a book and talk about our lives. And maybe they'll get it and compare the way we live and how they live. And perhaps they can say, well, if they can do it with nothing, we have all these things that we can do. Go to school. Let's go to school and try to do something other than go out and rob somebody, end up in prison, etc.
Yes. Are these your friends, yes, colleagues, people you grew up with in Savannah?
Yeah. Or these are people I grew up with, I've been knowing most of my life.
Why do you think it's important for Black men to talk to, support, inspire other Black men, like having your own community?
It's important because if you're going to talk about what they should do, how they should do it, you have to be an example. You can't just go in there and say, well, I want to do this and do that, and you haven't done anything. It's important. An organization like the 100 Black Men, it's a great organization. When I think about it, my kids were involved in it. Professional people too. I think you have a lot of Black men who are out there trying to make things better and to avoid kids going to prison or being killed.
What specifically did you want, or do you want the reader to understand from the story that you're telling?
Growing up.
And you grew up in Savannah,
in Savannah, right? Yeah. Growing up, we live in an area where just all Black. It's almost like a village. And the housing was something to live in, nothing extravagant. We didn't have hot water. We didn't have electricity. And we didn't have gas, okay? The heat was done by wood, wood stove. The cooking, let's say the cooking. The other heating was done by kerosene heaters, and lighting was kerosene lamps. The toilet was outside. Luckily, it flushed, but we had to go outside to use the toilet. Hot water was done on the stove, had to heat the water on the stove and put it in the tub. So I think about that, and I think about when I went to Savannah State, well, after high school, let me put it this way, high school, I went to St. Pius, went to Catholic school. When I went to Savannah State, they had a pretty good band. And
they had one when I was there.
Man, and all the pretty majorettes. Oh man, I want to be a part of this. But I couldn't play no instruments. I couldn't beat no drums. So they needed a drum major. One of the guys who was there dropped out. So I said, I'm gonna try out for this. But I didn't want to be a part of the group. After a couple of years, I decided, well, I want to go in the military. I spent 3 years in the military. I was a teletype operator. I spent a year in Korea, a year in Dominican Republic. Oh. It's interesting, places I probably wouldn't have gone alone. After that, came home. One day, I was on the corner talking to the guy, and a friend of mine passed by. He said, hey, Dickie, man, somebody want to meet you. I said, okay. So I went to the car, and it was Pat.
Hey!
My future wife. That's how we got to be husband and wife. From that point on, eight months later, we said, well, she wanted to get married. Now, she didn't have to get married because there wasn't no thing, well, she was pregnant, she got, nothing like that.
She just knew she wanted to be with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wanted to be with her.
Pretty girl, yeah. So that's what we did. And then.
How long were you married, Daddy?
52 and a half years.
The majority of people, particularly now Black people, do not even want to be married. And the idea of being married for more than half a century is amazing.
Mhm.
How in the world did you all make that possible?
Well, to begin with, my my wife, when we got married, she just turned 18.
Mhm.
I was 23. Okay,
Mhm.
and we stayed with my mom at my mom's house, the house that I bought her. I bought her a house when I came out the military because we've been moving this place, that place. I decided to buy a house, so we stayed there for a while, and then we moved into our own apartment. Now, keep in mind now, she didn't have any skills.
Mhm.
Couldn't cook, couldn't drive, couldn't pay any bills. So I did all that, but she learned, and we were just very supportive of each other. I don't care what it was. When she started working, she worked as a secretary for a while. Then she went to the railroad and worked there. Um, we did okay financially. We were able to make it. And but our thing was, we shared what we had together. It wasn't yours and mine. It wasn't like that. We wanted our kids to have a good education, so we sent them to Catholic school because that's where I went, Catholic school. And we just, I don't know, we were just a group. I mean, two people who loved each other
Mhm.
and wanted to make things better for us and and the kids.
What's hard about being married?
Well, you first of all, you got to care about each other. You got to have a plan about what you want to do. Sometimes you don't always agree. You have disagreements. I know my wife would tell me, "I guess you still mad, huh?" And being married is something that you have to want to do. And I always wonder, what does it take for a person to want to divorce
Mhm.
someone? I don't understand that. My life wasn't perfect, but I was a survivor when it came to marriage. I just wanted to do things to make my family proud, my kids proud. But when I came out of the military, I went to the fire department as a firefighter. I wasn't looking to be a firefighter. I needed a job. I enjoyed the people there. I was the only black guy there.
How was that, being the only black in a sea of non-blacks?
Well, it was okay.
What did you learn?
I was accepted. And,
Okay.
when we went on an alarm, everybody was everybody. You make sure everybody was safe. We ate together, slept together.
Mhm.
So we got along well.
There's a chapter in the book, Daddy, that's called Becoming a Man.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, what does that mean? What did that mean, becoming a man?
Well, becoming a man is when you realize you have to move on in life. Things aren't the way they used to be. When you were a teenager, you could do this and that and the other. But becoming a man, you have responsibilities. Being a man is taking care of your family, making sure they have food, clothing, making sure they are able to go out, enjoy themselves and other activities
Mhm.
outside of the home, and being able to see them happy. Being a man is making sure your spouse is happy, making she's happy, and you have to spend time with her.
Is it hard being a man? I hear a lot of black men say black women don't know how difficult it is being a man, carrying a family, caring for a family, providing.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
It's all about the individual, what you want to do. Now, keep in mind, there are a lot of men out there who are men. There are a lot of guys out there who are men, but they don't believe being responsible for anything. Okay?
I love when you wrote your personal choices. What do you believe in this book was one of your most important personal choices?
Well, my personal choices was making sure that the people that I call friends were friends.
Hmm.
That's important. Making sure that these friends were there if I needed them for whatever, just to talk about whatever my situation may be.
What do you want young people to gather from this entire book, from then until now?
Well, exactly what it says from then until now, and all the things that I did in the Atlanta Fire Department, arson investigator, personnel director, all these kind of things that I never thought I would be able to do. I was appointed chief, an assistant chief in the fire department. It's just a thing about being able to be involved in something, make changes, see things happening. Look at that as part of my life. I enjoyed it. My family, my friends, the community I lived in, the church.
When did being a part of the fire department become more than a job, but a career, something that you knew was going to be instrumental in making change, affecting change?
Okay. After about maybe 4 years in the fire department, I had become a member of a black organization called Brothers Combined. Brothers Combined was not a union. It's a group of guys that belong to the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. We said we wanted 50% of all the positions, lieutenant, captains, and chief. We had a lot of vacancies. We promoted more blacks chief officers as officers and chief officers than any other city in the country. Not in the country, I mean the country. You know, you had guys who were firefighters became battalion chiefs. Would have never happened had we not been able to resolve the lawsuit. I changed the face of the fire department. Hamer, Hank Christian, and me. Back in the day, you go to a fire scene, everybody with red hats was white. Anything happened, the white man explained. So we had black guys with the red hats and the white hats, chiefs now. So all that made me feel good today. I still think about it because we have a lot of black chiefs. We all thought the same. We want to make sure our kids got an education and do what we had to do to make that happen.
Let's talk about your parents really quickly, your mom and dad. You think you got some of that tenacity from her or from both of them? Because she did not look her age and she was moving and grooving up into the last minute.
Yeah, my dad and mom were married at an early age, and she was always wanting to make sure we got whatever we needed. My mom lived a long time.
Yes.
She was 96 years old when she died. Whatever she needed, she would call me and say, well, Dickie, I need so-and-so and so.
Why she called you Dickie? Where did they get that name from?
That's another story. I was born Henry Jones Jr. For all the time that my mom and dad lived, they never called me Henry.
They called you Dickie?
Yeah, my biological grandfather's name was Richard, and Dickie came from that. Never, and I never knew my name was Henry for a long time. For a long time, elementary school, high school. My paper, Dickie Jones.
Dickie Jones.
College. I was like, I gotta bring Henry out sometime.
Because you talked about your wife being married as long as you were, and unfortunately, your wife died from cancer as well. Talk about how differently your life has been since that shift.
Very different. I'm a lonely guy. Okay, I'm a lonely man. I'm not lonesome, but I'm lonely. It's the difference. Because when I go to bed at night, I'm there by myself. When I wake up in the morning, I'm there by myself. As I walk throughout the house, I'm by myself. My wife would normally be there with me. And it's not the same. Life is not the same. I'm not interested in doing a lot of things. I stay home most of the time because that's what I want to do. I'm not looking for anybody. I'll never, ever think about getting married again. Number one, I'm too old. And the other thing is, I could never love another person like I love my wife. So it's like 50% of my life is gone. It was a 50-50 thing, and 50% is gone. Never be the same. But I think about it all the time because I come in here every morning, make sure the plants are watered. I say a prayer every morning, and I do the same thing every night. I say a prayer, come here and say a prayer. And because my wife spent a lot of time in this room, she would sit down and on the phone, read a book, the Bible, and talk on the phone with her friends. This was her place, a little quiet, a little peaceful place for her. And I think about it all the time, so that's why I try to make sure everything is everything. Now, the Christmas tree has been up for probably maybe about 5 years. It's been there for 5 years. It'll stay there until I die. It's a memory of my wife. All these things here is remembrance of my wife. It's just like memorial, my wife. And I come in here, talk to her, she doesn't answer, but I talk to her anyway, let her know how much I love her. I tell my kids I love them, my family. And
how hard was it for you to watch or know that your wife was not gonna make this particular round of cancer and beat it?
Well, one day Cecily and I went to the hospital and, I told her, I said, things don't look too good. But my wife was still, talking, get up, whatever. And so one day we were there, Roddy, Cecily and me, we were there at the hospital. the doctor came through. My daughter said, "Doctor, what stage is my mom in?" So the doctor said, "Well, she's in no stage. She has anywhere from 3 weeks to a month to live," which was shocking to us. We never heard that before. So we brought her home and hospice care. And she was here maybe 2 weeks before she died. But she never complained. Never complained. I mean, she would talk. I always wonder about when people are dying, what do they think about?
Mm-hmm.
But she was a prayerful person. She always prayed. Always prayed. And she had a thing, she left a little diary sort of thing, and I was just going through some things, and she would write things that happened daily in her life. But at the end of it, she would put down there, "It is well with my soul." Hell, you are going for treatment all this time, but you still, a believer.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's going to be okay. She knew what the deal was, and she accepted it. And if there's a heaven, I know she's there. Can't be any place else.
How do you want to be remembered, Daddy?
I want to be remembered just what I put in the book. Whatever I say in the book, that's how I want to be remembered. As a guy who's trustworthy, a guy who's honest. If I said I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that people understand or look at me as a person who always cared for others, not just for myself. Remember about the things that I've done. The young people that's behind me, some of them know me, some of them don't. Mm-hmm. But the ones that do remember me, and I want that to be my legacy.
And I'm sure that's exactly how he will be remembered. Again, the name of the book is From Then Until Now, Short Memoirs of 8 African-American Savannahans, compiled by men of a certain age. You can purchase From Then Until Now on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, iTunes.com, and GooglePlay.com.